Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Disney Resorts Podcast. My name is Kenny Hayes, and I am joined alongside, as always, by the one, the only, Walt Ramirez.
Hey, Ken, good evening. How are you tonight?
Good evening. How are you? Good, sir. We got a good show lined up today.
Yeah, it looks that way.
Yeah.
Go ahead, lead us off.
So, folks, in this week's episode, we have some resort news coming out of the Polynesian Resort regarding the future DVC Tower. Then we're going to head over to Hollywood Studios and discuss the news that came out regarding its newest restaurant, the Toy Story Roundup Rodeo. I think I said that right.
Yeah,
so we're going to dive into that, give you some thoughts on that. We have another TRON update, couple updates coming out of that ride over at the Magic Kingdom. Then there was an incident recently, within the last few months, but a police report just came out over at the Beach Club Villas. We're going to tell you about that, and it's pretty interesting. You're going to want to check it out. And an update at the Carousel Coffee Shop. As we all know, a couple of weeks ago, everyone was losing their minds for the most recent refurbishment. You know, I just had a recent trip to Walt Disney World, so I had to go over and check it out, and I have some thoughts, video, and pictures regarding that. So we'll dive into that, and we'll see what our thoughts are. But before we begin, as always, make sure to subscribe to this channel, give this video a thumbs up, and as Walter always says, share with a couple of friends. So, Walt, I'm going to turn it over to you for the news.
All right, Ken. So we're going to start off with the news from the Polynesian. It appears that they've started to pour the foundation for the new Polynesian DVC wing that they're building. The estimated construction time for this resort wing for DVC is late 2024.
Correct.
So as you know, with Disney, it took 5 years to build TRON. It took 4 years to bring back Walt Disney World Railroad. Because
you know how hard,
you know how hard it is to lay some railroad ties down. So now it appears that they're going to speed their way through building a hotel tower. So Ken and I, as much as we would like to see this project completed on time, we're highly doubtful that that's going to be the case.
Well, when I was recently there, we picked up the monorail one morning from the Polynesian, and then we took it in the Magic Kingdom. And of course, I had to look right out, and you saw all the construction going. And for those out there who don't know, the location of the tower is going to be like where the Spirit of Aloha used to be, which was located between the Polynesian and the Grand Floridian. So basically, the Polynesian now, once the tower is built, is literally going to butt up to the Grand Floridian. And I did notice when we were going by on the monorail a couple times that you could see they were getting ready to pour the
foundation.
The foundation. I was going to say fittings. I'm thinking work. They're getting ready to pour the foundations for the tower. And as of this article, they are pouring the foundations for the tower, which is exciting news. But Walter brings up a very good point. And I hope we're wrong. Disney says late 2024. They're just, we are now in February of 23, and we're pouring foundations. Now, I know once that happens, it kind of goes up quick. But like Walter said, 4 to 5 years for TRON, 4 years plus for laying tracks at the Railroad of Magic Kingdom. And, like I said, I agree with you, Walt. I don't think we should hold our breath for late 2024. But I hope we're wrong.
Yeah, I mean, yes, absolutely. I hope that they get it done on time. But as you know, with construction, things happen. There there could be weather issues during the summer and fall months, and then once the building is up, then you may have the interior issues with supplies, and you as you know, with supply chain issues, all kinds of crazy things can happen. So we're kind of doubtful that it's going to be finished on time. But we can keep our fingers crossed.
You brought up an excellent point pre-show that, excuse me, I had to clear my throat again. I apologize. That basically, since the Polynesian put in the bungalows. I think that was around 2014 because I remember when I first started going back, it was around that time frame, right?
Yes.
And like you said, basically on and off since the bungalows, the Polynesian has been under some form of construction.
That's correct.
I never thought of that, Walt. And if I was an owner, I'd be pretty pissed off.
Yeah, I mean, I would be upset about it. You think about it, if you want to stay at your home resort for the better part of at least 4 years now, it's been on and off construction. They had the construction for the monorail station. It wasn't a massive construction, but it was enough to be a nuisance if you were there.
Yeah, and they just recently had a refurb on the cash side with the Moana themed rooms. And then the DVC rooms had I guess you call it a soft goods refurbishment, where they eliminated the couch and they put the Murphy bed in. So that's a cool upgrade. I haven't stayed there since that change. But so like from the main grounds to the rooms, everything has been, and don't get me wrong, it's a beautiful resort. I love going to the Poly.
Absolutely.
But like you said, I mean, it's a very expensive, it's a well-desired resort. And for it to be under construction on and off for as long as it has, it's, it can be a little frustrating at times, especially if you're an owner. I totally agree.
Yeah, absolutely. So moving along to the number 2 item here, the Roundup Rodeo BBQ at Toy Story Land is due to open on March the 23rd. Ken is going to put up a menu, pictures of the menu that are going to be available.
Looks good.
So Ken and I discussed this, and it seems like they took the menu from the Liberty Tree and from Crystal Palace and from help me out here, Ken. I'm blanking out on the
Hoop-de-doo?
The Hoop-de-doo.
Oh, no. Yeah, Hoop-de-doo.
Yeah, so they took the menu from all 3 of those and merged them all into one, it seems. The fare is very similar.
Yes.
Cheddar, there's obviously going to be some slight differences, but cheddar biscuits, watermelon salad, you have beef brisket, there's
some smoked ribs.
Corn on the cob.
Barbecue chicken. Yep.
Coleslaw. So you have very similar fare to what's available at some of those other places. I guess the theming is what's going to make this or break it. I don't see the food being, I could be wrong, but I don't see the food being a difference maker here. I think the theming is probably what's going to drive whether or not you're going to be going back for it. Because, I mean, let's face it. I mean, it's pretty simple fare. So there's really not a lot that you can mess it up, but you can also, if it's done well, it's another option at Hollywood Studios,
which it needs,
which it does need. Yeah. Absolutely, I agree. And it's certainly, hopefully, an upgrade to Woody's Lunchbox, because Woody's Lunchbox is pretty slim pickings, and
not a lot of room when you're outside.
Yeah, so in the summertime you're roasting. There's no interior seating for air conditioning and very limited shade. So, but that's another option and something that most folks have been looking forward to. So that's going to be opening up at the end of March.
I got to say, Walt, if it looks as good as the pictures do, we're in for a real treat.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, as you know, pictures always look better than what it actually ends up being. So.
Now, let me ask you this, because I'm assuming it's going to be for lunch and dinner. I think it is, at least for me, even when it opens, because I don't anticipate going back till after the opening date to Disney anyway. It's not a place that screams out to me that, like, hey, I want to go. It will be on my list, but I think for me, it would probably be. But like you said, too, earlier before taping, it's heavy. I think I would kind of lean more for the lunch than the dinner.
I agree.
But on the other hand, it's a heavy meal to then go hit some of those rides.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, see, here's the issue I have with a lot of the dining, and then we'll talk about this again in this episode a little bit further ahead here. But one of the issues I have is most folks, when they do these dining reviews are being done by people who live in the area. So they pop in, they run in, they try something new, and that's great for them, and it's great because it gives us an idea of what we can look forward to when we go on vacation. But the problem with that is that when we go, we're going maybe once a year, twice a year. So we're looking forward to specific things that we enjoy when we go on vacation. So this may not ever crack our list. So again, if you're in the area and if Ken and I were in the area and we were popping in to do a review, all well and good. It's an option for Hollywood Studios for sure. But as you mentioned, it's not going to be at the top of my list. I would rather get in my car and go somewhere where I know I'm going to enjoy a lunch.
Well, Walt, you just brought up an excellent point that I never even thought of. You know, you and me and most of the people listening are people who travel. You know, we don't live a half hour away. We don't live an hour away. So, you know, we go, you know, we're very fortunate, knock on wood. You know, we could go a couple times a year. However, you know, like you said, if we live down there, I could go to the Toy Story Roundup, BBQ, have something to eat, and not have to worry about going on a ride, hustling around a park when it's 95 degrees, because you're going to come in, eat, and you can dilly-dally. You could go get a drink after that, you know, wherever. But for most of us, you're like, all right, let's get on Slinky now.
Right.
You know, and it's like, I don't want to feel that when I'm on Slinky, you know. Yeah. But you make a very valid point, and I never thought about that. That was a very good point.
Thank you. Well, that's why they pay me the big dollars.
Exactly.
That's why you keep me around.
That's why you get paid the big bucks. But yeah, so I think it is on my list.
Yeah.
But for a lunch.
I would agree. I definitely would not go there for dinner unless I was stuck in the park and I was waiting around for something, whether it's a ride or a show. Maybe then I would consider it as a dining option for dinner, but definitely I would keep it at a lunch.
Agreed.
So we'll move on to the next topic, which is the TRON news. TRON will be having, what a shock, only a virtual queue and individual lightning lane. There will be no standby line for this ride. Similarly to Guardians,
right?
Guardians of the Galaxy. And they will be providing lockers for you to leave your items that in the past would be sent to your hotel room, as Ken always has pointed out in the past with delivery.
You wouldn't have to worry about carrying your goods around.
But now you have to put them in a locker. But this is similar to what they have over at Universal with some of their rides that are very similar to this, where you could also leave your items. They don't want your items flying off and then having to stop the ride to retrieve them. So it's a good idea. And one of the questions I have about this that it's going to be curious is to see if there's going to be any alleviation for Guardians of the Galaxy in terms of the traffic over there. I understand they're two different parks, but I'm more looking at the virtual queues because now you're going to have competing virtual queues with Tron and Guardians. So which one, how are they going to put that on the app? Are you going to choose between which virtual queue you want to get on? Are they going to limit it so that if, say, you get on the Tron virtual queue, now you can't do the Guardians? How are they going to work that out?
Well, I have a good question for you because since you're the ride guy, it still says you still need a valid park pass for that day in order to even enter the queue.
Correct.
So take, for instance, like me. I had a park pass for Hollywood Studios. I'm sorry. Yeah, Hollywood Studios. Yeah, I'm hungry. I have a park pass for Magic Kingdom, and I go into the virtual queue, but I'm an annual pass holder.
Right.
So at 2:00, I could still jump. So how does that work out? Because say I go into the virtual queue in the morning, I get Tron, and then I want to jump into a virtual queue to get Guardians. But correct me if I'm wrong, Walt. even the second virtual queue that opens at 1:00 right now for.
I believe that's correct. It was 1:00, and I also believe that you have to be in the park.
Oh, okay. So then I'm screwed either way
Right.
because I'm gonna have it's gonna have to be one of those parks. So then, if that's the case, like you said, are people gonna start in droves going to the kingdom because they want Tron?
Right.
I don't know. That's gonna be very interesting.
Yeah.
And at 2:00, it keeps coming back to that 2:00 hop.
Yeah, that has to be eliminated. I think they really need to rethink that.
Mhm.
But it's something that for the amount that you're charging your customers to enter your parks on a daily basis, I think it's the least you could do is just eliminate the time frames because there's no reason for it anymore.
No. And it messes something up like this. And maybe they wanted to mess up because now that they're seeming to go with these more popular rides, I don't know if these two rides ever go away from virtual queue to a standby line. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I thought Star Wars was not going to go away, and that's gone back to that does have a standby. Has a standby line now. So
it's possible.
As popular. I mean, that ride was hours long when it first started.
Yep.
So let's see where this goes. I mean, it could be a year or two, who knows? But like I said, I think Guardians will probably alleviate a little bit because of the popularity of Tron initially. And also you got to remember that with Magic Kingdom is one of those parks that once you get in there, it's not one of those easy parks to get in and out of.
Correct.
It kind of takes some work to get there between, the monorail and the TTA, so you're going to stay in Magic Kingdom a lot longer than you would say at EPCOT.
Correct.
So we'll see how that shakes out.
Let me ask you this before we move on. And I was watching actually earlier today before taping, I was watching some clips that Disney was putting out because some of the cast member previews are going on right now with Tron. Not for a ride guy, and I will probably not ride it. My family will. It's really cool looking.
It is.
It looks really exciting. As someone who's not going to ride it, I think they said, I don't know, the top speed might be 75 miles an hour. I could be wrong. I didn't look that up. Someone told me that, and I was like, wow, that seems fast.
Yeah, I don't know how fast it's going to be. I haven't seen the speed on that yet. But if it is that fast, it'll be the fastest.
Yeah. So don't hold me to it, but someone said that. So let me ask you this, Walt, before we move on. Have you seen any of the videos of Tron so far? Like, going through?
I have, yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So, and you have rode Guardians so far several times. And you stand by Guardians is the best. Now, making a call on you rode Guardians and you've seen videos from Tron, would you still stay with Guardians based off of not riding it?
Yes.
Okay.
I would I'll tell you why because of the movie connection.
Okay.
Tron obviously has a movie connection, but it's far removed. Mm-hmm. Whereas Guardians is a much more current movie connection. Okay. And there's another movie coming out. There's a Guardians 3 coming out soon. So it's fresher in people's minds. Mm-hmm. And I think just the concept of that ride, because of the immersion of it and being inside. Although, I mean, Tron does kind of go inside as well, and then you're kind of outside for a while. But, I mean, it's all going to be up to, the individual. Some people are going to probably think that Tron is a much better ride than Guardians. It's up to, I mean, there are people that might not even like Guardians, that might like... Yeah,
they might love Tron.
Avatar, that might love other rides. It's up to the individual. But in my opinion, like I said, when I eventually do ride Tron, I'll let you know. But I think think that right now I would say, if you were to ask me, will it, unseed Guardians as the number one on my list? Probably not. It might, but it might be a close second. So,
because what I see, it is because most of the time they show the videos at night. Mm-hmm. With the silhouette lit up. I think that's going to be so cool and so popular at night. Everyone's going to ride that at night.
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
of the lights and all that.
I
That looks
agree.
cool.
I think the lines at night the wait times will be longer at night than they will be during the day.
Yeah.
I don't doubt that. But we'll get you on there eventually. We'll get you on there. We'll drug you. You know,
Especially if it's 75. If I'm right with that, oh boy. Oof.
you'll have that tranquilizer dart
Yeah.
sticking out of your neck. But you know,
Dude, you got a dart in your neck.
all right. So that's going to wrap it up for the news for this.
Oh wait,
this
Walt,
episode.
do you want to talk about the beach club incident?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. Thanks for reminding me. So we just saw a news clip go by on an individual who was arrested, wasn't he? I believe.
Yes.
Okay. And this was somewhere around Halloween or on Halloween.
Yeah, they're saying around Halloween, and the report just finally came out to the public.
Yeah. So this incident occurred at the beach club, and it appears to have been a DVC guest who also owns at the beach club.
Correct.
And evidently, ownership has its privileges. So
that was good.
So it appears that this guest had some sort of an incident at Cape May Cafe. I think we're speculating that it was Cape
yes, because they didn't note it, but they said a restaurant in the beach club.
Yeah, and evidently the guest shoved with both of his hands one of the cast members
in the chest,
mm-hmm. And made some sort of derogatory comment as he walked away.
Mm-hmm.
And normally in the past, that would be an automatic trespass by the Disney company. But the legal department made a quick phone call and said, hold on, this person owns quote unquote property at Disney World because they are a DVC owner
mm-hmm.
at Beach Club. So we're going to have to think about how we're going to deal with this guy. So it's kind of interesting, how, And
I think the cast member didn't press charges either.
Correct.
So there's nothing much that what can you do to him, Walt?
That is true.
He owns there, and there's no charges that the cast member pressed. There's nothing you can do.
That is true. That there's nothing that you can do. So
he's coming back.
Yeah. So like I said, it's ownership has its privileges. So we'll see.
That was good.
It's a shame because you shouldn't put your hands on anybody, especially not a cast member. And we joke about this, but it's a serious thing because
it is.
As a worker, we both know that
mm-hmm.
it's not fun to be disrespected by other people.
No,
and to be treated that way, it shouldn't happen. And it's a shame that Disney doesn't treat everything equally. So we'll see where that goes. It doesn't appear that it's going to go anywhere. I mean, what are they going to do to him? Take away his points?
Exactly. Like we both know, as you a former member, being a current member, how much it costs.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, like you said, that it's not just a regular customer going into a park and doing something, and easy for them to say, "Hey, Walt, you're out." You got a ban. It's different. That person owns a portion of that resort.
Right. So you can't ban him from staying at something he paid for.
Yes.
Unless you fully refund his money. Which apparently it looks like they weren't willing to do.
Well, when we get into my dining review, I have a good story about that as well with someone sitting near me.
Well, let's move on to the news. Well, not the news. I'm sorry. The main topic of the episode, because we've teased our viewers and our listeners last week about this, and so Ken had a very interesting experience.
I did.
He and his wife when they boarded the Skyliner. Now they've been on the Skyliner many times before.
Love it.
And most of the time they've tried to avoid humanity when they're on the Skyliner, and probably for this reason. So I'll let you do the honors on this one, Ken.
So, as we all know, the Skyliner only opened, very shortly before the plague. So, and then when Disney reopened, you had social distancing, so they never put anyone in the Skyliner with you. So you had all that time where you had the Skyliner to yourself. And then even when everything was opening back up, they still weren't putting people in the Skyliner together. And the last trip when I went to, they were. But we were lucky enough that, if it's not busy at one of the hubs, you could say, hey, could I go, just my wife and I, and they'll put you in by yourself because you're not holding up a line. So my wife and I we were leaving EPCOT, and we're like, let's just go for a Skyliner ride. Because we didn't know if we were going to be back in that area. And I was like, well, I do want to go on it once before the trip's over. So we get on at the International Gateway, and they put us, and it was busy. I mean, not busy where it was like all the way down and going towards beach and yacht, but it was still busy. So it was my first time with strangers. And I hope it was my last time. So they put a family of 4. Then it's my wife. And then there was a gentleman who went solo. People were nice at first. They're talking. So I'm looking out the window as they're coming down Lake Buena Vista Drive. We pass a beach club. It makes that turn. And I could feel my wife leaning up against me. And these people are kind of having conversations with us. And I'm kind of answering. We're all kind of answering, but I wasn't looking at them. And and when we were down there, it was cool. There was days it was only 52 degrees. So it was cool. So the vents were closed.
Not good.
Not good. Started to smell. Started to get me quickly. So my wife is elbowing me. So I finally turn around and I look. So the kid, who's probably, 9, 10 years old, whatever, he has his shoes off. The mom then takes her shoes off. And they're rubbing each other's feet.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And the family had my feet hurt. Let me rub my feet. Well, guess what? It was scratch and sniff all the way.
Oh, God.
Yeah. It is. Oh, yeah.
When you first told me this story, I thought we were going for the defecation bag under the seat, but
my wife was thinking about it. So I felt that she wasn't going to get the gist. So we're pulling into Riviera, and I'm thinking to myself because they're not getting off. So I was and I saw no one there, and I was going to say, "Hey, let's get off. We'll just literally just make a U-turn and get on." And I knew we could have got one solo. But I knew she was going to say, well, we're not getting off here. We're going further. And so then it would have made
it would have been awkward.
I was like, well, we're just going to ride this out to Caribbean Beach.
It would have been awkward. Not as awkward as rubbing each other's feet, but
I understand awkward. Your feet hurting. Walter and I get it. Every night. In the old days, when I do 3-4 parks a day, the old days you take a couple Tylenol, put a pillow up under your foot in the hotel, and feel the throbbing. However, you're in a confined space.
Yeah.
And you're sweating all day, and it was,
And your odor eaters weren't working.
And the odor eaters were not working. It's not good. And you know what, though? All kidding aside, for all of us listening who have been in the Skyliner, who enjoy the Skyliner, it is not the monorail.
No.
And I know we don't have a lot of room in the monorail, but when you're sitting across from someone, it's literally your leg, their leg, your leg. The Skyliner is not intended, at least in my opinion, to be with strangers.
Correct.
There's not enough room. I'm sorry. You should not be putting strangers together. I'm not talking about germs. It has nothing to do with germs. I'm talking about my space.
Exactly.
My space. And I think the people there too, there's not enough room in there. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean, I would maximum of 4 people in there, and I know they could fit a lot more, but I just, like you said, it's such a confined space, and it's not a fast moving transportation ride. It takes a while to get to where you're going. Yep. So when you're in there with somebody who's, picking their toe cheese.
Oh
It's just
God. Oof.
not an experience that you want to have. That's pretty ugly. I
So
hope
my
that you.
wife was traumatized. She was
Yeah, I
traumatized.
would be, and I hope that you weren't going to a dining experience or coming from one, because that would have definitely soured
No, that was still later in the day.
my
We were
mood.
just going for
Yeah,
a cruise, but
yeah.
now we got very lucky on the way back. Well, they stuck us with a couple, but they got off at Riviera. We get
Okay.
back on a transfer station at Caribbean
Hmm.
Beach. Then there was four of us, and they got off, so we had our to ourselves from Riviera back to the International Gateway. And real quick, while we're on this topic, because you were texting me, I was very fortunate, and Walter reminded me, and that's when they sent the SpaceX sent
Yes.
the satellite up.
Hmm.
So I actually got to watch it from the International Gateway because he's texted me, and I'm like, well, and he was like, it's going off in 2 minutes, and I'm like, I'm going to be off the Skyliner in 2 minutes. I tried to time it right, but I was just a little off, and but
Yeah,
it was
but you
cool
got it.
because we got off and we were standing. I sent the video out.
Yeah, you
think I
got a
actually
good shot
posted
of
it
it.
on it. Yeah, it was really cool to see. Really cool.
Yeah.
And I learned something new when I renewed my pass because where Mission Space is, that location was picked by Disney and it lines directly up with was that Cape Canaveral?
Cape Canaveral. Yeah.
Yeah, that was really
Yep.
cool. So there's a you learn something new every day. I was very
Yeah.
and it lined right up because when I was at the International Gateway, I was taking it was cool because it was during like a at the very beginning of sunset.
Mm-hmm.
It was really cool. Good timing.
Yeah. Awesome.
So that made up for Tochi's.
So your vacation got even more interesting
Oh yeah.
because when you texted me and you told me that you lost your pants,
Uh-huh.
I was like, "What are you talking about? Like, are you walking around Disney with no pants on?"
Kinda.
So apparently, Ken had a kind of a split stay between
Mm-hmm.
his resorts, where he moved from was it a one bedroom you
Yeah,
moved
one
from
bedroom to a studio.
to a studio towards the back end of his vacation. And in the process of doing this, he had left a pair of fairly expensive jeans
Mm-hmm.
in his dryer.
That's odd.
And so when he alerted housekeeping about this situation, the search party went out, but it didn't last very long.
No. So it was funny because, like I said on our last episode, we extended our vacation by one day. So we had a one-bedroom villa. We were on a wait list because it was packed. The wait list came through. Unfortunately, we had to downgrade to a studio for the last night. So that morning, we're all getting ready, and I was fluffing up my jeans, and it was that day we were there. It was going to be like around 65. So I said, well, let me fluff my jeans. I'm going to put them away because I'm going to wear them home the next day. And I was intending to wear shorts that day. So we called Bell Services because we had refrigeration and stuff that needed to be taken. So I put the stuff in the dryer. We're finishing packing up. And I forgot because that's running. Bell Services is coming. There's four of us. There's how many bags? So I'm trying to take care of him. I'm tipping him. And I forgot. Jean stayed in there. I packed up. We left. The kids went one way. Beth and I went to EPCOT, and we were in line for Finding Nemo. We were in the queue, and I don't know why it hit me. I said, crap. I said, I think I left my jeans in the dryer. So she sends an email. We hear nothing, and I said, don't worry about it. It is what it is. We'll stop back at the front desk when we get back. So lo and behold, we leave Epcot later on that day. I stop at the front desk. And like they didn't want to send no one into the room. And I'm like, but you do checks. Just send a manager there. Say, hey, listen, sorry for the inconvenience, but the customer who was here earlier switched rooms. They said they left a pair of jeans, but can I enter? Big deal. They knocked on my door, so what? So then I go back to the room and I call housekeeping. They says, no problem, we'll send the manager over. We'll check it out. I says, yeah, it's the only thing I had in the dryer. No bueno. They call me back. No bueno. Jeans aren't there. So somebody's wearing my jeans. I hope you enjoy it. They're nice, comfy jeans, and you took them from me. Shame on you. It even gets better. So then the lady at the front desk gives me this little card and says you have to fill out a report and it'll give you a number. I'm like, but why can't you just send someone to the room? So I fill this out and then I start getting the automatic replies. The search is on for your item. We'll be back in touch. So it was like every couple of days, it was like an update. Good evening, sir. The search is still ongoing. We found nothing yet. So these just generic emails. So I got the email 2 days ago. The search is over. It's gone. It's over.
And
search party's over.
And it was Bob Chapek giving you the middle finger?
There was Bob Chapek. It's like, you guys talked a lot of trash when I was CEO. I took your jeans.
I took your pants. Oh, my God.
Yeah. So my comfy jeans, gone. And then I was flying home to, thank God it was mild because you picked us up at the airport. And I had to wear shorts coming home. So that's what it is.
We joke around about that, but
where'd they go?
Exactly. I mean, listen, I don't want to pick on housekeeping. They do a good job. It's hard work. But
somebody threw them out.
In this instance, and this isn't the first time, it's the first time for you, but it's not the first time that I've read reports where items have gone missing in rooms.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen other guests complain about this. And for me, it's concerning because now I'm going to be a little bit more careful with the items that I leave laying around in my room. In the past, I really never even thought about it. But now that this happened, why would you? I mean, listen, it's a mistake by the person who left the room. In your case,
it was. I made a mistake, absolutely.
But it's a simple fix, especially considering you knew where you left them. It wasn't like you lost an earring or some sort of jewelry where now you have to search through the entire room. You specifically gave them a location, which is pretty easy to find, the dryer. So where'd they go?
Well, because they had me second guessing myself. So then I go back to the room and I take my luggage out. I had everything nice and folded for the return home. Took everything out just to make sure. I'm like, well, maybe I'm losing it. Maybe I did pack it. Nothing. Nope.
Wow.
It was in there. So
that's a shame.
If you're listening, enjoy those jeans.
And they did, and you would think they would have even tried to give you some sort of a voucher or something.
Nothing.
That like, hey,
nope.
Free crab leg at the beach club or something.
We're fighting for crab legs.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. But let's talk about a good positive event that occurred. One of your more favorite dining experiences that seemed you were very excited about this when you told me about it was at the boardwalk at Trattoria al Forno. Now, initially, you mentioned to me that you were going to eat there, and I kind of questioned you about that because
you did.
I said, well, you didn't go to Citrico's or, a few of my other favorite places to eat at.
Or nothing more.
And you kind of said, nope, sorry, Beth wants to go there today.
That's where she wanted to go.
And it turns out that you had lasagna al forno.
Mm-hmm.
And normally we don't go in depth on dining reviews because so many other people do it. And we are so far away that we don't want to get too specific. But in this case, I'll let you describe it since you ate it. It seems like you really, really enjoyed this lasagna.
Yeah, so we were looking for a place to eat that night. And we were trying – my wife and I were like, we just want to try something different. And we were looking at things, and there was quite a bit available. And Trattoria al Forno. Oh, wait a minute. I'm going to try it. I feel it coming on. Trattoria al Forno. You didn't know I speak Italian, too. So we booked a reservation, and we were kind of iffy. And I texted you, and I says, hey, we're going to try this out tonight. And you were like, well, I haven't had the best meals there. And I'm like, oh, you know what? We're just going to go with it. And then I've seen some other people, and I've seen some good reviews out of there, but I've also heard, like for Walter, that it wasn't the best. I said, you know what? I want to try something new. Well. So we tried the lasagna. At first I started off with a Caesar salad, which was $12. Caesar dressing was excellent. Had a little bit of maybe a sweet to it, but it was good. It was good. And I'll put the picture up so you can see that. Nice. It wasn't a lot, but a nice presentation. It was
plated very well.
Yes. What was plated very well was my entree. Like what you said, Walt, the lasagna al forno, which came in at $30. I sent Walter a picture after. Well, I sent him a picture of how it was plated, and I sent him a picture after. There was nothing left.
Yeah, you practically licked your plate clean.
Yeah. I'm telling you, folks, it was that good. And you know Walter and I, we will tell you, we will trash stuff, we will tell you it's not good, but we'll also tell you when it's good. I'm going to tell you, it is the best lasagna I ever had. Best lasagna I ever had. The meat, and that's saying a lot. I am not a huge Italian guy, but when I want it, and it was good. Pleasant. The presentation on the plate, excellent. Our server, Alejandro, I did a cast compliment. Top-notch service. Top-notch.
And just to give people an idea, the description is it's a blended. Let me see here. It is a blended Italian cheese, beef, veal, pork, herb ricotta. So you have a pretty good combination there of different meats in the lasagna.
Yeah, it was so good. I finished the plate. I mean, there wasn't nothing left besides a little bit of sauce. Like I said, Alejandro. So if you're going there, ask for this gentleman. Excellent server. One of the best I've ever had at Walt Disney World. He was one of those, like what Walter and I talk about from the past, where service was exceptional, and he made you feel like you were the only customer he had in that restaurant. He was that good. And that's why I did the cast compliment at the restaurant before I left. And I actually took a picture. I says, if you don't mind, I says, can I take a picture of your name tag? Because in the cast compliment, I want to make sure I spelled his name right. And they asked for his hometown, too. So I was like, I didn't want to try and remember. I didn't want him not to get it because he was that good. That good.
That's awesome.
My wife also she was pizza margarita. Now, or you're from the Northeast, like Walter and I, pizza is very good. I know people out in the Midwest, if you're listening, you'll say Chicago pizza, deep dish. New York, New Jersey, we got it. But, so we're used to good pizza.
Yeah.
We're not that far from the city. Even in Jersey, we got good pizza places here. She said the pizza was excellent. Excellent for Florida standards. It was very good. So her and I both walked out of there going, wow.
Yeah, so you're going back.
Yeah, I would absolutely go back for that. Now, this is my first time. This is all we tried.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't comment on anything else. But these particular entrees and the salads, because she also has started off with the, correct me if I say this wrong, and I know I'm going to say it wrong, is the ensalada?
Ensalada caprese.
Ensalada caprese. Italian again. For $13. Again, well plated.
Yeah, that looked really good also.
Yeah. Now, funny story, and our trip had a lot of funny stories. There's a couple next to us with a young child. Kid never acted up once. You can hear, and you know in Disney, a lot of times, just like Le Cellier, not as close, but you're close.
Yeah, it's tight.
So if you want to listen to someone else's conversation, it's not hard at all.
No.
So they start like trashing the server about how long everything's taken. Now, I will warn you, it's not that the service is bad, because I just raved about the service. Everything is made fresh. It takes time, people. And I don't know, when I'm at Disney and I'm sitting down for a nice signature dining, I do not want to be rushed. And if you have a young child and you're worried about the time, and this is what I'm getting at, then maybe you shouldn't book a dining reservation at 7:30, 8:30 at night if you're worried about getting a child to sleep. Child wasn't acting up at all. They started having a hissy fit about, well, we got to get this kid back. We got to put, like, they were so consumed about getting this kid back to the room that finally, when the server comes over, the guy's like, this has been taking way too long, and we don't want it. We don't want it. And the funny thing is, so she's like, okay, let me get my manager. Let me see what I can do. The server, then the runner brings out their food. I'm talking not even 30 seconds later. They bring out the food. And the dude goes, nope, I don't want it. You could take it all back. And I'm like, wow. Turns out, I think they discounted them for something, but they paid a bill. They paid the bill. And even the manager came over. The manager was excellent, because I heard it. Very accommodating. Like, sir, your food's ready. We'll box it for you. We'll bag it for you. You take it back to the room. Enjoy it. No. Give it to someone else who ordered it. I know other people here ordered the same plates. But you paid for it. Why wouldn't you take it?
Yeah, that's...
Even if you threw it in the garbage, let me throw it in the garbage. I paid for it.
Sounds like somebody did not have a good day that day.
No.
And they took it out on the restaurant.
And then it was funny because as they left, everybody else was listening, because all of us tables surrounding it started talking about them. Because it was just so odd. Yeah. I mean, like, it probably, I would say by the time her and I sat, drinks, salads, entree, I don't know, 45 minutes, 50 minutes. But it was fresh, and it was so worth it. Bread service you got to. We had a double bread service, all in all. So I could vouch for Trattoria al Forno at Disney's Boardwalk, that if you want the Caesar salad, the ensalada caprese, the lasagna al forno, or the pizza margarita, check it out.
Spot on. Yeah.
So now I'm happy because I've tried everything there, and now the only thing I'll be able to that I haven't is when the cake bake shop opens up.
That's true. Yeah, because you've done the flying fish when we went.
Flying fish before the plague. I did Big River a couple times.
Jelly rolls, though, you haven't done.
I have not done jelly rolls. No, I have not. So I stand corrected.
Yep.
I do want to do that one time. That is on my lounge list. But Meadow actually went to, and her boyfriend went to Big River, and they loved it this trip. And you don't need a reservation, which is good.
After you got out of Trattoria al Forno with that wonderful dinner that you had, yes, I did. You turned into Geraldo Rivera at the Jimmy Hoffa vault, and you ran over to the Carousel Cafe to give me a live update that night of what the folks over there were doing at the coffee shop. Apparently, the Bed Bath & Beyond decor that they had over there wasn't sufficient. So they ran over to Land's End, I guess, instead, and got some better decor. But how did you feel about the transition there?
So I was there twice. Earlier in the week, we got there, and I grabbed the coffee because I wanted to go in, and I'll put some video up for the show. I videotaped the inside where the coffee shop is, and then I also shot a video in that of the lounge area directly across from the coffee shop. When I got there originally, they had, like you said, it was either like they robbed Bed Bath & Beyond or Home Goods, because that was like the stuff on the wall. It was like the all different types of mirrors and stuff like that. And then they had like the succulents on the table, and I'm like, what is going on here?
Yeah,
this is a turn of the century boardwalk. themed resort. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What's going on? Then, we had dinner that night. A couple nights later, we were back at the boardwalk for dinner at Trattoria al Forno, and we were waiting because the kids were coming from EPCOT, so they wanted us to hang out, so they didn't have to take a bus, and then we would just drive them back to the resort from the boardwalk. Well, turns out we go to wait in the lobby, and everything is off the walls in the lounge area, and they're now putting up prints, which I'll put up on the screen, to refresh whatever of the Carousel coffee shop.
Mm-hmm.
It looks better than it did. I was talking to one of the cast members in the main lobby, and they're not happy. They're not happy that about the theming.
And just to give a quick background on this, prior to this occurring, folks were giving, were kind of losing it on the decor when this first opened up. So it seems like there was so much negative feedback that kind of pushed them into this.
Now, when you and I brought it up originally, when everyone was losing their minds, I said on the air that I didn't see what all the fuss was about. And I will still stand by that because I still think it looks nice.
Mm-hmm.
It does. However, I understand what the cast members said, because what they're worried about now is, because everyone knows by now who's been listening to us, is the Boardwalk Resort is going under refurbishment. From the villa side to the cash side, now to the main lobby. The main lobby was actually under, they started putting up the walls when I was there that night. They're worried about losing the theming. And that's why you stay at a Disney resort, is because of the theming.
Absolutely.
And if you lose the theming, all you have is a generic resort, a Holiday Inn, a Sheraton, a Hilton. That's all you got. That's the difference. I think even with Universal, which I have not stayed at, but I know people that have, still not themed like Disney. So while I think it looks nice, the coffee shop, I think they lost the touch and the theming of the resort. I did go, which I apologize, I do not have video clips of. I went into the lounge as well, because people were freaking out about, they changed the all the furniture. The furniture is more, it's all new.
Okay.
Now, granted, it looked like your grandmother's house. The furniture that was there, it wasn't that comfortable, but it fit the theme.
Okay.
It's more of that, the furniture that they put in there now is more of like that mid-century modern, which I like, but it's not, doesn't necessarily fit the theme. Now, everything, the decor on the wall is all stayed the same.
It kind of misses the mark. And
it's agreed, it's missing the mark.
And as you pointed out, when you have succulents on the table,
come on.
Yeah, I mean, this is a resort that, and Disney grows their own flowers on property.
Yes.
So you could have fresh flowers every couple of days or every day, even if you really wanted to. So to take the cheap way out of something like that is a little strange.
Yeah, I still think the lounge looked good. However, like I said, the furniture was more of that kind of like that mid-century modern. And if you want to know what it looks like, check out Mickey Views over on YouTube. We don't know them, but he does a good job, and he had a big rant on about Disney losing its theming and that, especially in the resorts. I couldn't film it or take pictures because I actually went down there, and they had like a bunch of executives from Disney in there, I guess having a meeting or something. So I walked down, I looked real quick because I just wanted to see it. Like, I wanted a physical to view it. And I got what they're talking about.
Okay.
Like I said, it still looks nice, and I don't think the furniture affects that area as much because the wall, they did a good theming inside the lounge. We're like the Carousel coffee shop. The theming just is not.
Yeah.
I think if you were to blindfold me, Walt, it would fit more in Riviera.
Okay.
Than it would fit. Like I said, it's not that it's not bad looking, it just doesn't fit the resort.
So maybe the delivery guy got the resorts wrong and delivered it to the wrong
yes,
place.
So, but like I said, speaking to a couple cast members in that lobby that night, that is their biggest concern.
Right.
Is that they're going to lose the theme of the resort.
Well, they should listen to their cast members. They know best. They're there every day. So, so before we wrap up, I have to. We're gonna razz Ken a little bit about something. So he had an experience with some dining at EPCOT that I found to be very interesting. He sent me a photo of something that at first I thought maybe he had like dropped it on the ground and then put it back on his plate. I wasn't sure what it was. But I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt. I mean, so I said, all right, well, where'd you go? Sunshine Seasons at EPCOT over at the Land.
And I talked good about it before.
And he has. And my first thought was there's got to be a zombie apocalypse going on in EPCOT, because why would you go to Sunshine Seasons for food unless perhaps, you were, caught in a thunderstorm and you just wanted to duck in there and grab something to eat. Ken's explanation was that there were a lot of lines at a lot of the food establishments throughout the
busiest I ever seen it
during the arts festival. But I will tell you, and Ken will put a picture up of this sandwich that he tried to eat. I don't care how long the lines are. I would have waited at least an hour if I had to avoid having that sandwich. What was the sandwich again, Ken?
Yes. Like I said, all the lines were long, and we just wanted something to eat real quick, and it was the cheese pizza roll for $10.79, and it was god awful.
It looked.
Did I say awful? It was bad. I think I sent you a picture like 5 minutes later. I was like, Walt, this is god awful.
Yeah.
And when you see the picture, I made like a nice presentation out of it to show you how horrible it is.
Yeah, that was a pretty rough looking sandwich.
That was a mistake.
It's a good thing you didn't get on the Skyliner right after that for your toe cheese experience, because that would have you would have been reaching for the defecation bag under the seat.
Yeah, I would have went toe cheese, I think, before this.
Yeah. So avoid Sunshine Seasons unless you're absolutely starving and you have no other options.
Yeah, try another dish, because this was I talked okay in the past, but this was bad.
Yeah, this was bad. Again, it's food court fare, and it's a shame because there's so many great options in EPCOT to go to that I may have to ban you for like a month, because of that selection. So
I think I deserve to be banned after that.
All right, so we're gonna wrap up here today's episode. We have a few other topics that we're going to hit on for our next episode. Ken has some comments about. Yeah, he has some comments about sci-fi dining. A couple of reviews regarding some really great desserts that he and his wife had over at the Cruise Cup over at Yacht Club.
Yep.
And a few other interesting things. But we're going to let you know that we're going to be having a segment on in the future, hopefully in the very near future, if I can convince my sister-in-law to do it. We may have to put her in a bubble, or
you make it only audio
because she doesn't really like the camera.
Yeah.
But we're going to be calling it Bitchin' with Beth.
That's right.
Because she has quite a bit of Disney rants that she wants to share with us.
Yes.
So I thought I think they would be very interesting, and I think most folks would really find it amusing, and also useful on some of her takes.
Because she makes a lot of sense, and I don't like to agree with her, but she does. So we have a lot of wars in our house.
Yeah, well, her and I agree on a lot of things because we're both soured quite a bit on Disney.
Oh yeah.
So Ken tries to keep a more upbeat, positive attitude over it, but
I'm getting tired.
Yeah, but we're beating him down on it pretty good. So
yeah.
Hopefully that'll be coming across hopefully soon, maybe in the next couple episodes.
Yeah. I look forward to it. It's gonna be a good time.
Yeah, absolutely, it'll be fun.
So
all right, I think we're gonna call it a night.
Yep, good show as always.
Absolutely.
Walt. All right, folks, that's gonna do it for this edition of the Disney Resorts Podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. For Walt Ramirez, I'm Kenny Hayes. Take care, everybody.